more you travel, more like
All the
find.
myths get busted,
Uh,
right?
yes, and
All
it's
the myths.
and also saying like it's not confusing. That's why it's not confusing at all. That's what I see India refusing to be simplified. They don't want to be simplified. They're refusing it. We don't want to be simplified. This is how we are. And and the refusal is exactly what keeps our culture food alive. And surprisingly, it's impossible to pin it down.
Yeah.
People are trying to, every chef is trying, people are making these journeys in India. It's very impossible to pin it down because also there is evolution that is happening with the food, right?
Even, yeah.
So that's what I said, people can label it Hindu is equal to veg, Muslim is equal to meat, whatever, but it will go in 5 minutes more you travel in India.
And
So
there's,
just
like you talked about evolution, there was also the impact of the British, because British at one point, when the power moved from the East India Company, I mean, till they were with the East India Company, they were celebrating and integrating and, eating the way the Indians ate. But when the whole imperialism came in and everything moved under the crown, there was a whole emphasis on, um, you know, uh, establishing their British ways of how we eat and how we behave, etc. And an aspect of that was we eat meat, therefore we are strong, and you're weak. And that also got a lot of communities, especially in Bengal, etc., to start eating meat, and the men did it more, and therefore they were the ones who were stepping out. They were the ones who were eating and dining with the colonizers. They were the ones who had probably government jobs, etc. And you see, again, I find that in most of these communities that we've talked about, the men are the ones who start eating meat in communities that are traditionally seen as vegetarian, because sometimes
absolutely.
it's not being cooked. Like, my mother is vegetarian, and initially when we grew up, my father was happy to introduce us to meat, but it would be outside, then it would be brought in,
Mhm.
and now there's separate utensils to cook it, and yet it just keeps evolving and
Yeah.
becoming more and more okay, till my kids go there and
Yes.
say, oh, Nani, come on, so now you have to, so it's just changing. And I mean, I think the uncertainty that you talked about, the complexity of India, one of the things is, if you grew up in India, you're used to the fact that everything will have an exception. It doesn't surprise you, right? So you don't
Yes.
suddenly say, oh, you're
Absolutely.
this. If somebody just comes to you and says, hey, I'm this, I'm from here, but we eat things like that, you don't react, because that exception is the norm to everything. Oh, my
Yes.
my grandmother made it this way, and that's how it's made, and we don't put this addition, ingredient in that. That is the normal way of doing it. To expect a standardized recipe is what's ridiculous, always.
Oh yes.
When
Absolutely,
people
every
have Chinese
family.
pickles, right? I just keep thinking, oh, but they've got, oh, yeah, but my grandmother makes it this way. I feel uncomfortable if, say, I mean, Fab India is preserving some recipes of pickle, but I just keep thinking, oh, but they're just going to make it one way. Aam ka achar is made as many different ways as when you get it, depends on whose house you're getting it from. And it's nothing to do with religion. It's just, or anything like,
Absolutely.
your neighbor's pickle will be different from your pickle and the next neighbor's pickle, and so on.